Welcome again to Travel in Gold. As promised, this week I'm going to show you exactly how I got elite status in the SkyTeam Alliance. I'll show you how you can do it too. You'll have to decide for yourself if it's worth it, but at the end of the video I'll give you a rule of thumb that you can use to help with that. I'll also be running through the basics of how the Flying Blue program works and why that was the best choice for me. So if you're interested in flying on airline status,
time the engines roar. Welcome to Travel in Gold. Flying blue across the sky. Woods and miles are flying high. Now you're traveling gold.
Oh, finally. The first question is why even consider frequent flyer programs at all? Well, for me it was the fact that I was paying almost £100 for a check bag in each direction for the flights I was taking to the USA. I saw that frequent flyers didn't pay this, then I looked into the other benefits and the idea began to have some appeal. I expect if you're still watching you know what a frequent flyer program is already. The thing you need to try and understand early on is that they're not all the same. There are also some other considerations. Individual airlines have their own programs and they can offer pretty nice benefits if you do your travel with that one airline. In most cases though that's not very practical and you want some choice over which airline you fly with, especially if you're travelling further afield and your airline of choice doesn't have any routes in that part of the world. Fortunately there are 3 large airline alliances and each have airlines who fly pretty much all over the world. These are One World, Star Alliance and SkyTeam. Each has between 15 and 20 airlines and each of their frequent flyer programs gives benefits to the wider alliance airlines as well. There are some quite complex reasons to choose one carrier over another, and typically in the UK the obvious choice would have been British Airways as the airline to chase status with. But that all changed earlier in the year. British Airways made it much harder to gain status with them. In fact their status is now really spend based, and to get the top tier you need to spend about £20,000 a year. Even to get the second tier, the silver tier, you need to spend £7,000 a year. This is out of reach for most people. My choice was a bit limited as well because I live far enough away from London and the London airports to make them a bit of a pain to use. The journey time is 2 to 3 hours and it's not great if you've got a load of luggage to take with you. I do live within about 40 minutes of Birmingham Airport though. It's very easy to get to on the train from my closest town of Rugby and it's reasonable cost. Take a look at the video above. That'll explain why it usually makes more sense to travel there and back first class by rail. Once I've made the choice of an airport, Birmingham International, then it naturally followed that an airline with a good presence there would be the choice. Just scanning down the departure boards showed that the most frequent carriers at the airport were low-cost carriers, Ryanair, EasyJet and Jet2. These don't have any loyalty programs, at least not in the normal sense, and looking at legacy carriers a few stand out. There's Etihad, Turkish, Emirates, Air France, Lufthansa, KLM and Aer Lingus. Those based outside of Europe didn't really make much sense as my key trips were likely to be transatlantic. That only left 4. That left Aer Lingus, Air France, KLM and Lufthansa. Without much more thought, mostly because I'd already booked travel through KLM, I chose the Flying Blue programme, which also has Air France as a participant. Members of the Flying Blue programme share benefits as they're participants in the SkyTeam Alliance. This includes Air France, KLM, Delta and Virgin Atlantic. All of these fly transatlantic routes from the closest European hubs. That's London, Amsterdam and Paris from me. From home I can be any of those fairly quickly. I can book flights which connect from Birmingham International to access those. So gaining status with Flying Blue will give benefits, like a free check bag, with all of the other SkyTeam partners. I could use the free check bag if I need to take flights after landing in the USA with Delta. Or if I found a cheap Virgin Atlantic flight from London or Manchester, the same applied. I won't do a deep dive right into Flying Blue today, or it'll be a really long video. If you want that, just leave a comment below. The crucial thing to understand about the Flying Blue programme is that I needed to earn 100 experience points. They're called Flying Blue experience points and that would get me silver status. Every flight awards XP, so I need to take a number of flights. The way XP is earned is shown by this table. We, My wife Anth also needed status. You've got to take something like 20 economy flights to gain silver status. Each of those earns 5 XP, and it looked crazy to do 20, but as I looked into it, it wasn't quite as bad. The XP could be earned for every flight segment, so 20 flights actually meant 20 flight segments. KLM flights from Birmingham always go through Amsterdam, and air flights always go through Paris. One trip passing through a main hub has got several segments. We talked about it a bit and thought it'd be nice to get away for a few days to somewhere warm in Europe at the end of the winter. So I looked where there were cheap flights available on KLM or on Air France. Mallorca took 3 flight segments to get there and another 3 to get back. So I booked it, thinking that's 6 out of the 20 done in one trip. However, the final segment's Barcelona to Palma, both in Spain, so 2 XP per leg, not 5 XP. The whole trip would net 5 plus 5 plus 2 outbound and the same inbound, so that's 24 XP. So that 24 XP didn't really seem enough. I needed 100 XP. However, there's another way to increase your XP, and that's by buying Sustainable Aviation Fuel or SAF. When you book a flight, there's an offer to buy SAF to offset your carbon footprint. The reward is some XP. The rate's similar to the cost of a cheap flight, but you don't have to spend the time and the other travel expenses. It's about €10 per XP point. For a Mallorca flight, I could actually buy another 22 XP. It was about €220, so I added it. I also stupidly added 10 more XP by donating Flying Blue miles. It's a really poor use of miles, but I didn't really understand it properly at the time. That's actually another video of its own, so again, leave me a comment and I'll make one. Once I'd done that though, that gave me 56 XP, so I'd only need another 44 for silver. It's starting to look like it was in reach. We really enjoyed our trip to Mallorca. A few days somewhere warm in February and March really lifts you. We were ready to do it again. This time I knew about the SAF and that the longer the flight the more SAF you could buy. I looked somewhere a bit further away. That would give me more SAF. Neither of us had been to Greece, so we chose Athens as our next destination, so it was booked. 5 plus 5 XP outbound and the same inbound, that's another 20 XP in the bag. I could also buy 36 XP with SAF, that's 56 XP plus 20 XP plus 36 XP plus 5 XP, that gives me 117, and that's enough for silver. The XP awarded for SAF tends to get credited immediately, so our boarding pass on the way home showed the silver status. The XP counter deducts 100 XP and starts a countdown clock for 1 year at the end of the month you qualify. I now had 1 year to maintain silver, another 100 XP. Remember I was already on 17 in surplus from my qualification, or I had 1 year to chase 180 XP to progress to gold. What would you do? I said earlier there'd be a tip about how to decide whether to chase status. I'd say that the criteria for chasing silver is that you're likely to take 2 flights a year, which require you to check baggage. If you get some XP from those flights, you might make it close to 800 XP anyway, and topping off with a bit of SAF will likely cost no more than the bags would cost. So if you're going to take 3 flights, it's always daft not to do it. Chasing gold is something else entirely. That brings us to the end of this video. I realise I haven't covered all of the Flying Blue programme in detail, and also I haven't explained how silver became gold in just 2 more months. Those are other videos. I'll leave a link to the Flying Blue programme below so you can take a look for yourself if you're interested. Chasing status has given me the travel bug, and I took a day trip to Dublin a couple of weeks ago, so you might like to watch that too. It wasn't all plain sailing. Whatever else though, if you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe. Even if you didn't enjoy the content, but you're still here, leave me a comment and go and check out my stuff. I release something every week on a Friday afternoon. See you soon, safe travels, and remember when you're travelling gold, it's not just about the destination, it's about how you get there.